But be assured that this investigation is the Moscow Police Department's, and I am the chief, and we're going to follow through with this. And just know that from the very beginning of this, we've been a unified group, and we make decisions together. But those ultimately, I stand behind at the end.
So why are cops still going in and out of the Moscow, Idaho murder scene and refusing to answer questions from reporters? This latest situation has again fired up the mainstream media and a whole bunch of YouTube creators who are theorizing without anything to back it up. And now, instead of asking for help in finding that white Hyundai, they're asking the cyber sleuths to back off and quit harassing people, especially people they've cleared as suspects. You know, my question is it going to take an arrest to get people to give police the room they need to work, or are we going to figure it out on our own? Well, thanks for joining us here at Profiling Evil as we talk about a few of the crime cases happening this week. And this week, we're still focusing on the Moscow murders. Now, I hope you'll take a moment, hit that like and subscribe button, and ring the bell so that you're getting all of our notifications on videos just like this one. Now, if you're one of our channel members, I want to say thank you for supporting us through channel sponsorship. It really does help out. And I hope, folks, you'll consider joining the Academy level, where you get a little more information a whole lot sooner than the rest. But now, let's talk about the latest developments in the Moscow, Idaho murder case. You know, the internet exploded over the last couple of days with folks talking about that white Hyundai. It was recovered in Eugene, Oregon. The vehicle had clearly been in a traffic accident, and it was discovered alongside the road with the bumpers on the ground and the license plate missing. I even think from the images that we've seen that the right passenger side window was broken out. Now keep in mind, Moscow police have determined that there are as many as 22,000 Hyundais that are white in color and match the description they're looking for. That's just in that region, that I think that upper northern west part of the United States. Now, these are cars that they're trying to exclude, but the true crime community, after hearing about this one vehicle, ran wild, convinced it was the vehicle that was sought by police.
Do you know anything about the Hyundai Elantra found in Oregon?
Moscow police confirm they are aware of a Hyundai Elantra located in Eugene, Oregon, the same model they are looking for in connection with the murders. Police say they are working with investigators in Oregon to determine if the car is related to the case. Police in Oregon say they have no information to indicate the vehicle is related.
Well, it didn't seem to matter to anybody that the police had already excluded the vehicle as being tied to this crime. How they did this, I have no idea. But I'm trusting them. I'm trusting them when they say publicly that the vehicle is not involved in the homicide case. Nonetheless, a number of YouTube creators, TikTok creators were releasing videos that focused not only on the car, but the owner of the car, even doxing out who he was, where he lived. I mean, this is really inappropriate. Now, it certainly was sensational, and it probably netted a lot of views, but it appears like it was nothing more than a whole bunch of noise. You know, in fairness, I thought I would take a moment and plot out the most probable course from Colorado to Eugene, Oregon, for those, because I've had a bunch of you call and ask me about it. Now, as you can see by this map I created, it shows that this is about a 20-hour drive from Colorado to Eugene, Oregon. Now, to mix it up a little, I changed the starting location from 2 or 3 different places along that western border of Colorado, just to see if it made any difference in travel time, and it really didn't change things a whole lot. Then, I plotted in a stop to Moscow, Idaho. I should say Moscow. I'm sorry, folks. Now, you can see that the route that I plotted out creates some question in your mind. At least I hope it does. It certainly created them in my mind. I mean, number one, why would someone travel to Moscow if their destination was Eugene, Oregon, or places beyond that? Somebody would have had to purposely drive to Moscow as a destination, not a waypoint. Now, being fair, if they happened to have had Moscow as their destination, committed a murder, and then became disorganized in their thought, it's possible that they could have jumped in their car and started west and headed down to the West Coast through Eugene in hopes of building an alibi of sorts, ending up in that final collision point. But doing that creates a 26-hour drive. That's if it's driven in one fell swoop. So again, the question becomes, why would somebody add 6 hours to their trip by going through Moscow if it wasn't a destination? And then the question is, why would they end up in Eugene? Hey everybody, it's Mike from Profiling Evil. I've been studying criminal behavior for more than 40 years, and one of my favorite research tools is Truth Finder. It's online, and you're not going to believe the information stored there. So if you want to know more about that new neighbor, your babysitter, or your next online date, give Truth Finder a try. I'm including a link below with special discount pricing. You got to click the link to get it, and then enter EVIL10 at checkout. We're an affiliate, which means we get a small commission, enough to buy a small Diet Dr. Pepper, but you can cancel at any time. Thanks for listening today. Coupled with the evidence that we're taking at face value, that evidence by police that the vehicle wasn't involved, the mapping exercise we just did kind of helps corroborate the alibi. But then yesterday, reporter Brian Enton tried to get two detectives who were entering the crime scene to talk about what they were doing there. Well, as they should, they ignored him and went about their way, refusing to comment on what was going on. That led to more discussion, more tweets, more video online. Well, last night I had a discussion with Ashley Banfield on News Nation about this very question. The question was complex and yet pretty darn simple. The question, why were the officers going back in? Heck, I don't know, but listen to my exchange with Ashley.
Good. All right. So, Mike, you've got 23 years as a homicide detective. Can you explain to me why on day 37, two more guys would show up with a Pelican case? A, why now? B, what's in the case? And I know you may not be able to, but you know more than I do.
And Phil will probably back me up on this, but I've never had a case, Ashley, that I didn't wish I could go back to the crime scene. And so that's one of the, I think, fortunate parts about this particular case is they've maintained custody of that crime scene so they can go back and look at things. And frankly, when new information comes out, as pieces of information are uncovered, either in interviews or maybe we're getting some interrogations, I don't know. But during those interviews or just during the course of the investigation, lights turn on and the investigator thinks, oh, if I could just get back and look inside. So seeing something like that is not a sign of something big happening, but it could be just cleaning up, doing a little house cleaning, figuring out a few things that maybe they should have captured the first time that isn't on video or collected forensically.
Just fascinating, and I get it. That's probably why they've kept that crime scene that long, and who knows how much longer they'll hold it as well.
Our conversation then shifted to comments made by Kaylee Gonsalves's family attorney, who expressed concern and discomfort with the amount of experience that the lead investigator in this case has. Now listen to this segment by, again, Brian Enton, where he shares the attorney's comments and the police chief's response.
The attorney representing the Gonsalves family told Ashley Banfield he has concerns about the experience of detectives, especially the lead investigator on the case.
My understanding is that he was hired in 2020 as a rookie, and so he has a total of 2 years experience.
The Moscow police chief responded this way.
I know there's been some questions about the leadership in this investigation. What I want people to know is this is a Moscow Police Department investigation. We're utilizing the resources of the FBI and the state police, but we pick the investigators. My command team oversees this. We have 94 years of experience between us.
Well, Ashley then directed her question toward me and retired Houston police homicide investigator Phil Waters about the level of experience that this investigator in Idaho has. Listen to our comments about that investigator. Again, this guy has 4 years of experience, and our response comes from guys with decades of experience. I think you'll be interested in our response.
Okay, so Phil, earlier on the newscast, you heard that the family lawyer for Kaylee Gonsalves was pretty upset after a meeting, I think a day or two ago, with the Moscow police, in which the lead investigator identified himself as Corporal Brett Payne. And looking him up, the lawyer thought he'd only been 2 years on the force. He's only been 4 years on the force. I will say this about Payne. He's a rock star, 82nd Airborne Division. He's got all these awards and accolades. He's Rookie of the Year. He's got awards, coming out the wazoo, even on his 4 years. But leading an investigation this big, this complicated, this multidimensional, this many levels, state, federal, 4 years enough, or should you have a vet?
Well, he may be a vet. When you talk about the Moscow PD, there is, we've said from the beginning that the fact that there's it's a small department and a small community, and they have made the right decision early on to ask for the assistance of the state police and the FBI. And so we've marshaled all of those forces. In terms of being the lead detective, Moscow PD is the lead agency in this investigation, and therefore, if he is the lead detective in the investigation, he is exactly where he should be.
Okay, Mike, I got 10 seconds left. Just add to that. What are your thoughts? I mean, 4 years might be veteran, but tell me, again, I got 10 seconds.
100%, but the bench is what's important here, Ashley. He's got FBI, he's got state law enforcement. He's got a pretty experienced bench right in the PD with him. And frankly, he might be just young enough to understand what the psyche was of those kids in that home.
Oh, you guys, you've got all the answers. You'll have to come back. Thank you so much, Mike King, Phil Waters. Love to have you.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
Thank you.
And so this investigation continues on. And I would just offer a couple of thoughts that frankly aren't being discussed much. Number one is keep in mind that many of the kids in this area, the students, have been away since the murders at Thanksgiving holiday. That really makes interviews and interrogations a lot more difficult on law enforcement. Keep in mind that police have received more than 15,000 tips, and they're combing through 4,600 pieces of digital evidence. They've conducted 250 interviews, and they show no signs of slowing down. I mean, I'm impressed with what they're doing, especially for a small agency. Now, of course, that's augmented and backed up even as short as yesterday with the FBI adding a dozen plus more investigators to the investigation. But their focus remains on the investigation, and anybody with tips are encouraged to contact the police department or the FBI. So let's end this video on that note, but take a moment and enter your thoughts down below about the investigation, the red herrings that are being produced, and the aggravation being created by cyber sleuths who have this idea that they're somehow helping. I gotta keep hoping that they think they're helping. So, what are your feelings about this case? You know, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The true crime community is a powerful force for good and bad. So if you have something that could crack this case, that could possibly benefit it, or that could change the direction of the investigation, don't share it online, please. Don't send it to your favorite YouTube creator. Go out instead and call the police department immediately. Pass it on, and then patiently wait for police to finish the investigation. I personally have great hope that this case is going to be solved real soon. I reflect back on that comment made by Captain Lanier of the Moscow Police Department just a few days ago. You remember what he said about resolution coming, arrests being imminent? Hey, thanks for supporting us here at Profiling Evil, and please make sure you're hitting that like and subscribe button. Go over and visit us at profilingevil.com and check out our website. It's there that you can sign up for our B.O.L.O. That's our digital newsletter, and you can pick up copies of my book or get links to podcasts, interviews, and other kinds of informative information. And since I mentioned podcasts, if you like podcasts, please subscribe to Profiling Evil Podcasts on your favorite podcast platform. And if you live down in Southeast Asia, folks, check out our 2022 Global Award-winning podcast, Mapping Evil with Mike King. And since we're talking, if you have time tonight, catch me on News Nation with Ashley Banfield. We're going to be covering a couple more important parts about this case, and I think you'll enjoy hearing what we have to say. So thanks for your support of Profiling Evil, and we'll see you all soon at the next crime scene.